And he's like, do you have lead magnets that you've given away before? Yeah. People like them? Yeah. Okay, make an ad. So what I just started doing December 8th, I launched my first ad in this guy's style. And I was like, if you want to understand your cost of acquisition, if you're an e-commerce business, you pull this report from Shopify and you put it in the sheet I gave you, and it will tell you exactly what is the maximum you can spend. Cool. And then my CPL went from 11,000 to 800 that week. The next week it went to $20, and I launched 2 more of his style of ads.
Welcome to Frank Growth. I'm Jason Shafton, and I lead growth consulting firm Winston Francois. Around here, we tell the truth about growing, the good, the bad, and the can't say it out loud ugly. Every episode, we get tactical with operators, investors, builders about what works, what breaks, and what to do next. No fluff, no vanity metrics, no hustle theater, just signal. This is Frank Growth. Let's get into it. Today, we've got Matt Putra talking about cracking lead gen for a service business. Before we bring Matt in, a quick riff on today's topic. Most services founders think lead gen is a marketing problem. It's not. It's an offer architecture problem. There's 3 traps that I see all the time. First, selling time instead of outcomes. If the prospect has to imagine what working with you looks like, you've already lost. Second, spraying budget before nailing the offer. Paid ads don't fix a positioning problem. Matt spent $150,000 learning that lesson. Third, treating lead gen as a channel game when the real unlock is just making it easy to buy. Matt went from 2 leads a month to 80 a week and hit a 5x return on ad spend with his paid channel. We're going to unpack exactly how he did it. Let's get tactical. Matt, welcome to Frank Growth.
Thank you so much, Jason.
Yeah, I'm glad to have you here. We connected in our kind of mutual Hampton circle, and you're all over the e-commerce world. I've been watching what you built at EightX and this fractional CFO services for e-commerce and CPG brands in the kind of 5 to 80 million range. Super cool business. You've worked with 60 plus brands across 4 countries, but what grabbed me was your own growth story. You spent DK over 18 months trying to crack lead gen, and then in December you broke it wide open. So That's the story I'd love to unpack today.
Okay, cool. A bit painful to talk about. Well, let's go.
Without pain, there is no gain, I think is the saying.
So, I've heard this.
Quick warm up. In one sentence, what does it mean to you when you say we cracked lead gen for a services business?
I am getting leads every day without incremental effort every day.
I love it. That sounds really nice, but I bet it wasn't easy to get there. So let's get tactical around that. You said you spent, $150,000, 18 months trying all these different lead gen approaches. Walk us through what you tried and why you think it kept failing.
I went to Alex Hormozi's conference and I was like, what am I supposed to do next? And he goes, retention's great, margin's great, just sell more stuff. And I was like, all right, cool. I guess I got to talk to more people. So kick off my quest to get leads. I tried cold email more than 3 times. I tried cold email 3 times, failed every time, miserably failed every time. And I tried hiring a BDR guy who was successful in a different industry, didn't know what I was looking for, didn't know how to set up the role, and he did not work out. And it's not his fault. That didn't work. I was working with a sales coach for a long time. I tried a podcast. That was not fun, and it didn't work either. We tried LinkedIn outbound. That didn't work. What else? And then in July of last year, 2025, paid a marketing agency. And we're like, yo, you have done this really well for someone else who sells to my exact same person. So just do the thing for us. Great. So we spent followers total with them from July to October. And guess how many leads I got? 3. So CPL was like $11,000 or whatever. And I don't think I closed any of those ones that I spoke with. So yeah. And then, so actually that's all the things I tried. So then November, I was like, guys, I'm not doing this anymore. So I paused with them and I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. And it was getting pretty dicey in the business because we had spent a lot of this money and it did not work. And I had planned that something would work at some level, but we didn't close 1 client from this effort. And so I paused them and then I'm like kind of freaking out. And I just was on Instagram and I came across this guy. His name is Rev Laughlin, based in Bali or Australia. And I started watching his stuff. And his ads were like, hey, if you want to get leads, you need to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things and do this and you'll get leads. He really just told me exactly what to do. And his next ad was like, when you're looking for leads, this is how you turn on literally how you turn on a campaign. And then I DM'd him and I was like, hey, question for you. Answered my question. And then I paid him for an hour consulting call. And he just told me exactly what I should do. And he's like, "Do you have light lead magnets that you've given away before?" Yeah. People like them? Yeah. Okay. Make an ad. So what I just started doing December 8th, I launched my first ad in this guy's style. And I was like, if you want to understand your cost of acquisition, if you're an e-commerce business, you pull this report from Shopify and you put it in the sheet I gave you, and it will tell you exactly what is the maximum you can spend. Cool. And then my CPL went from 11,000 to 800 that week. The next week it went to $20. And I launched two more of his style of ads. And then in December, I got 200 leads. In January, I probably got 300 leads. And in February, I don't know what it is now, but roughly 60 to 80 per week leads. Now, they're not all perfect fits, but roughly we're getting 2 to 4 phone calls a week. And they're just like booking however it is they find a way to book. We don't have a very good contact process, which is my next hill to climb, but
Mhm.
game changing. And we had our best month ever in January. And I think I beat that month in February.
So this, I mean, it sounds like a breakthrough. Just
Absolutely.
talk a little bit more about. So what are the ads like? What's the offer? What does that lead magnet look like? What was the messaging? Like, give us a little bit more detail.
Sure. So the ads are about 5 minutes long each, which is unheard of. If people watch the whole thing, they will inherently trust you because they'll figure out you know what you're doing. Okay, cool. Did that. So one of them is I have a tool that helps people understand how hard to push marketing or not. And the ad is that tool on the bottom half of the screen and my head on the top half of the screen. And I go, hey, if you want to use this tool, just follow along and I'll show you how it works and what to do. And then if you want it, hit the button and give me your info and I'll send it to you. And that one's the best performing one right now. My other one is the CAC one, customer acquisition cost one as well. And I go, here is, so I have, what I've learned for me is that fancy colors on a spreadsheet work well for ads. So I have a CAC and I go, there's like a just right range, which is green. There's a too low range, which is orange. And there's a too high range, which goes into red. And I go, if you want to know what you should spend to acquire a customer, follow along, go to Shopify, grab the thing, put it in this thing, then your number spits out from here. And that one's working well. I have one where I talk about why dashboards are stupid and what you should do instead. And then I have another one. Oh, I created a skill for Claude. So if you want to know exactly what to do about your inventory, grab this thing, attach it to Claude, grab an inventory report, dump it in, hit enter, and it gives you a 15-page report on how to fix your inventory. And I just give it all away. Yes, cool. So you just give me information, you get the thing, and it's working awesome. So
So let's talk about the math because you're a finance guy. The kind of the return on ad spend or ROAS, people say on these kind of paid discovery calls. So somebody sees these ads, they end up in the funnel, and then they book a call. Talk through the unit economics there a little bit for you guys to the
there,
extent that you
let
can
me.
share.
I'm gonna pull up my scorecard real quick, and I
Yeah,
won't give everything away, I guess,
yeah.
but I'll give you a bunch of numbers here. So obviously, I hate dashboards. I use scorecards. Shout out there, but I have my scorecard open. Cost per call has fluctuated between 300 to sort of 700. Cost per close has fluctuated between like 1,000 to 3,000, which is really good
Yeah.
for our industry. So it's been decent. Well, this week my CPL went down a lot, which is sick.
When your annual kind of revenue and LTV on these customers is, what, 5, 6 plus figures, right?
Yeah. So I would say typical LTV is in the mid to high five figures. Some would be six. Yes. Yeah. So, and we've
Very
set up
ROI positive, this effort, compared to $11,000 cost per leads that don't close. So you're a CFO, you've seen the inside of dozens of P&Ls. What do you think is the number one financial mistake that e-commerce founders make that kills their growth?
yeah, we do what's called a growth economics audit right now. And it lets us deliver some work at a good value for e-commerce people. And so people are saying yes to that a lot. So I'm seeing a lot, even more companies now than we used to. And by and large, the biggest leak is bad inventory strategy. And I think like I'm talking like six figures in optimization potential. One company was like $1 million in over inventory in the wrong SKUs. And I know because like I have the AI thing that, by the way, we'll put it in the show notes that you can use. It would
Yeah,
tell you what yours is too.
yeah,
And unless you're like a single product company, like do you have two supplements or whatever, like, inventory is probably a problem for you.
yeah,
And by and large, it's the biggest one. And we can talk about why, but people make this thing that they love and it's their baby and they don't want to cut it, but you got to cut it.
yeah.
Yeah, that's the biggest one by far.
Okay. You use something called, and make sure I get this right, the X and OP system to
Sure. Yeah.
align demand, supply, finance. Can you break that down for us?
Sure. So if you look upstream from inventory, if you look upstream from most problems in most businesses, the biggest issue is coordination and shared language and like role definitions and all these things. And it's really like sort of the human side of everything is really upstream. And so what we want to do is align all the humans around the goals and language and scorecards and numbers. And so the way that we do this is it's a 4-week operating cycle. Week 1, we meet with the demand team and we go, what is the demand down to the SKU level? And we say, what are you willing to stick a pin in for the rolling 3 months forward? Week 2, we work with the supply team and we say, demand team says this. What do you need to do to supply the demand? What what happens there is we go, there's 10 SKUs that have virtually no rolling sales velocity. So we obviously shouldn't stock them. And so it gives these people this opportunity to say, your SKU ranking is all the way down and there's a bunch at the top that have a lot of demand. There's a bunch below. So you don't buy the ones that don't have a lot of daily sales velocity, right? And so the supply team then goes, okay, here's what we need. Here's the blockers. I have a POs out for this. I need to push forward a PO for that one, push back a PO for that one, and meet this plan. Then next week is like our week, finance week. So it's cash, margin, EBITDA. Like we look at both of these people's plans and what does the business look if we fulfill them properly? Week 4 is executive sign off. So we go back to the leadership team, whether it's just the founder or multiple founders, whatever. And we say, demand says this, supply says this, cash, EBITDA, margin, everything. This is the plan for the rolling 3 months. Approve or not approve. And we figure that out. So ideally we stick a pin in it, but we start demand the next week again. And so then what's happening is you're getting a constant touch point with your demand cycle to the SKU level. And so
Mm,
if something shifts in that 4 weeks, you catch it very quickly. And then let's say for something you have a PO out, all of a sudden it's dipping. You have a chance then to say this SKU sales velocity is dipping. Let's push this PO back a bit. And in so doing, most of the time, when companies use, and this is very well researched, using processes like this, you can save between 10 to 30% on your inventory overall with better service levels, meaning better on-time delivery, less stockouts. And you typically can add like between 1 and 4% EBITDA from a process like this.
that's awesome. How do you diagnose whether a company's growth problem is a cash problem, margin problem, or alignment problem?
So like we're CFOs and shit, but we call ourselves growth economists. It's not a real word, but
It's
like,
fancy. I like it. We have a growth OS like
there
EOS.
you
That's
go.
what we do. Yeah.
So
Yep.
yeah. And
Yeah.
so like, yeah, we do the accounting well, but what we really do is helping you grow faster, highest ROI, easier, and then mitigate risk. So how do we diagnose what's going on? Well, I rip the data apart. So our growth economics audit will tell you the top 3 things you need to do to grow by ROI and by dollar potential. And the way that I do it, I guess, is I start by looking at their funnel. So from ads all the way down to conversion, but we rip the entire thing apart, like CPM, CTRs, add to cart, checkout, the whole thing.
Hmm.
And typically in there, there's a signal as to what is the most important thing to grow. By way of example, I was talking to a $40 million brand. We did our audit for them. They were wanting to spend 200 grand on a website redevelopment. So they paid me first. And when I did my diagnosis, their issue was their reaching checkout rate. It was well below what I see from apparel and well below industry standard and below what they've been doing in the past. And so if you go and do a website redevelopment, most of the time, and I might be wrong here, but a lot of the time you're focusing on customer experience to get a better add to cart rate.
Mm.
And so if they do that, it's wasted 200 grand because their add to cart rate was above industry and better than most apparel brands. So it's wasted money. So I said, look, don't do this. Spend all your money and effort on reach checkout rate and you will add ding, 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 $7 million revenue next year if you just get back to where you were before. And if you get to industry average, which was 20% better than they would add like $12 million in revenue and their website redevelopment wouldn't have come anywhere near that for ROI because they would focus on add to cart essentially and 90 pages in colors.
The number of times I hear founders and C-suite say, "We got to redo the website." It's like, but why? what
Yeah,
what is
why
it gonna what is it
exactly?
gonna do? How is
So
it gonna help? Let's talk about that. I'm all for pretty websites, but like if it doesn't deliver ROI, and this sounds like a better way. So okay. So this is a good segue to my next question, which is what is your approach to marketing spend discipline? When should founders push harder and when should they pull back?
there are like 3 to 5 key numbers that tell you what to do. One is your maximum customer acquisition cost. Every customer has an LTV and you look at the average and you just don't spend too much So you look at the gross profit and the shipping costs and you go, if my LTV is this, I can only spend, you can literally only spend up to a certain number. Otherwise that customer loses money for you forever, or at least a 12-month payback, which is irresponsible. For a subscription, like supplements or whatever, 3 to 6 month payback is okay. 3 months better. For apparel, typically you need a 1 month payback, typically. And so you just know what it is. And then you spend up to that amount and then you stop, right? Then you have to make your ads better. There's a CPA, which is cost per order target. And everything's blended. We don't look at attributed stuff. We look at blended. And you go cost per order. My order value is X. My gross profit on that order is Y. I can't spend more than Y minus 20%. Otherwise, I don't make money on an order ever, right? And then you have to look at your P&L and say, what can I afford? You probably have a target for your net profit. And then you back into your marketing and you say, what am I willing to make on a net profit basis to acquire more customers? And in some cases, you can spend more and grow your net profit, right? If your CPA, CAC is below your sort of maxes, just spend more money. You'll make more money right away.
Just spend more money. That's all. Everything else I blacked out, but just spend more money.
Honestly, most people, most of the time, should spend more money.
Underspend, yes. Yeah.
I will tell you, 5 years, most people should be spending more, not less. I will say though, I delivered an audit on Monday where they should not. They should reduce spend and fix a couple key things because their CAC was 6 month payback and it's not going to, it's going to kill them. But if they fix their CTR and their add to cart rate, which were both slightly below industry and their own averages, their CAC will drop to half of what it was and they can rip again. So yeah.
You've worked with over 60 brands. What patterns do you see that separate the ones that scale from the ones that stall?
Oh man, you have good questions. You're firing me up. The happiest founders are the ones with the lowest fixed costs. And it sounds stupid and it sounds so easy, but like keep your salaries below 9% of revenue and you will have so much more fun running your business. If you also have a good lower SKU count, people are happier too, and they grow faster.
Too many SKUs.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, those two things are really important. And then beyond that, being able to be a bit cavalier in the way that you do marketing is the third thing.
You've grown 8X from 3-4 people to 24 people. What's been the hardest part of scaling your own service business?
It's hard, right? Because I am not the best manager in the world. And so I need to make sure that I hire people who are pretty independent and who are pretty smart. And it's taken me quite a while to figure out how to find those kind of people. So that's one. And now we know how to hire good analysts and good accountants. So things are going really good on that front now. The second one is, well, you know what? The biggest thing that I would do different today is spend that 150 grand that I wasted on marketing earlier in the business. Because if I had cracked that 3 years ago, I would be in a very different place right now. And I've been leapfrogged as well by someone who cracked marketing earlier than I did. Because I spent a year not growing and working on ops. Had I to redo that year, I would have said, ops will figure itself out. I'm just going to learn how to sell. And there's a guy that has done awesome at marketing and he's way bigger than I am at this point. Yeah. Well, at least twice as big.
Where do you think AI is genuinely changing financial operations for e-commerce brands, and where is it still hype?
It's not changing a lot today. I think people have a thought partner on their phones now, which is great, right? But in terms of literal ops, it's not changed a lot. And so things have changed so much in 10 days that now I'm able to talk to Claude and it will go and read a customer's data and update their forecast. And I don't know how many people know how to do this yet. We're probably, because of Hampton, I mean, the people in Hampton are amazing and they're teaching me stuff. And so we're probably well advanced on that, but it's very possible, but there was a ton of technical setup to get to that point.
Yeah.
So it will get more. Right now, like AI bookkeeping is mostly not real.
Yeah. Several companies have shut down that have tried to do that.
Yeah, well, so I spoke to one, I won't say their name.
Yeah.
I spoke to them maybe 6 months ago and they're like, hey, we raised like $3 million in San Francisco. Oh, cool, this is AI bookkeeping. And I could tell from the way they did it, there's people hiding in the background doing stuff.
Yeah, of course.
The AI was doing legitimate things like PDF reading, but not much more than that.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Let's do a speed round. So quick questions, quick answers. And maybe this is no longer the case, but I think you used to host a podcast and publish content. How does content factor into your lead gen engine now?
I don't do a lot of organic. I focused on paid. I follow the Alex Hormozi principle, more, better, different. So I'm just doing more of what's working.
If a founder is stuck at 2 leads a month like you were, what's the first thing that they should audit?
what's working today and do more of that.
What's one thing you know now about scaling a service business that you wish you knew 3 years ago? I feel like you just answered this.
Focus on sales and marketing, and the ops will figure itself out. If you want to have a business, know how to sell and get leads.
Matt, this was specific, usable, exactly why I do this show. Where can people find you online, and what should they reach out to you about?
Yeah, you can find me at 8x.co, or on Instagram is where I'm most active these days. So Matt WJ Putra, it's on Instagram. If you're a service company, you can find me on 8x.ai. We're doing some stuff for service companies as well now. But Insta's cool. If you want to just chat, Insta's great.
Perfect. Matt,
Yeah.
thanks for coming on, man. This was awesome.
Thanks, Jason. I had a good time.
That was Matt Putra and a real playbook for cracking lead gen when you sell expertise, not products. All right, here are my quick top 3 from today. Remember these if you don't remember anything else. 1, give away genuinely useful tools and the leads will follow. Matt tried cold email 3 times, hired a BDR, ran LinkedIn outbound, paid marketing agency with $40,000 spent, 3 leads delivered at $11,000 each. None of it worked. What worked was 5-minute video ads showing people how to use free spreadsheets and AI tools he'd already built, and his cost per lead dropped from $11,000 to $20, and he went from 2 leads a month to 60 to 80 a week. The lesson? Stop trying to trick people into a funnel. Teach them something real and make it easy to say yes. 2, ad inventory strategy is the #1 growth killer for e-commerce. Across 60 plus brands, the biggest financial leak Matt sees over and over again is over-investing in the wrong SKUs. One company had $1 million tied up in inventory that wasn't moving. The brands that scale keep SKU counts low, fixed costs tight, and salaries below 9% of revenue. And they have the discipline to cut products that aren't pulling their weight. Most founders won't cut their babies. The CFO will. And 3, align demand, supply, and finance on a 4-week operating cycle. Most of your coordination problems will disappear. Matt's X and OP system runs on a rolling cadence. Week 1, the demand team pins a SKU level forecast for the next 3 months. Week 2, the supply team plans against it and cuts POs for low velocity SKUs. Week 3, finance models cash and EBITDA against both plans. And week 4, leadership signs off. Companies running this cycle save 10 to 30% on inventory, reduce stockouts, and add 1 to 4% in EBITDA. The upstream problem in most businesses isn't data, it's coordination. All right, here's one action you can take this week in less than 10 minutes. If you sell services, take one tool, template, or framework that you already use with your clients. Record a quick video showing someone how to use it. Run it as an ad. Don't overthink the production. Matt's breakout ads are his head on top and a spreadsheet on the bottom. The bar is usefulness, not polish. If you run an e-commerce brand, pull an inventory report and rank every SKU by daily sales velocity. Look at the bottom 20%. Ask yourself honestly, if you didn't already own this inventory, would you buy it again today? If not, it's time to cut. That's Frank Growth. If this gave you something you can use this week, follow the show and share it with one operator who needs it. I'm Jason Shafton from Winston Francois. We help companies build sustainable, repeatable growth with a proven operating system. Show notes and takeaways are in the description. Be frank and keep growing.